Hey guys, as you can tell by the video, we are going to be talking about me being a nurse in Florida. And I'm gonna just jump right into it. But before I get into it, I kind of wanted to give you guys a little background so you can better understand where my experience and my information is coming from. So first of all, I am a nurse. I work in a hospital, only been working for a year, and I am a cardiac nurse. I work night shift. I have been living in Florida for 9, almost going on 10 years. And I live in the Southwest Florida area. So that's Sarasota. I guess you can kind of include Tampa, St. Pete, Fort Myers, Naples, Bonita Springs, the Everglades. That's the area that I live in, just so you guys can kind of get an idea. And so that is what my information is going to be based off of. Keep in mind, like I said, I have only been a nurse for 1 year and I have only worked in one hospital. So that is where my experience is coming from. So don't kind of take this video as the end all be all. Use it as a reference and then take the information that I give you and compare it to other information, or just go do your research and compare to that as well. The way that the video is going to be structured is I'm first going to talk about the nursing side, because if you're watching this video, I just kind of assume that you are a nurse and you are thinking about moving down here. And I have got a couple comments just asking me specifics about how it feels to work down here, like certain things of how it is to work in Florida. And so if you are thinking of that, first of all, you just gonna want to know, is it worth me moving? Like, are y'all getting a pay that is going to afford me the lifestyle that I want to live? So I'm going to start with that portion first, and then once we're done with that, we'll move on to the lifestyle part. And by lifestyle, I mean like housing, car insurance, weather, like, social life, things like that. So then you can see like, well, maybe they get paid good, or maybe this is not enough for me, or if it is enough for me, well, let me see how much it even costs, how much is the cost of living down there. So let's go ahead and get into the video. The first thing we're going to get to is pay. I kind of asked around, and just based on my experience when I first started out where I was applying to, I started out at $25. I've seen jobs as high paying as $32, and that's just base pay. We're not taking in consideration if you work in night shift, it's not seasonal or anything like that. And we do have seasonal, a lot of seasonal down here. But from what I've seen, you can get anywhere paid from $25 to $32. And that was just in a hospital setting. So I don't know if you want to work in a clinic, or you want to do dialysis, or if you want to work in corrections or anything like that. I'm not sure what that pay is, but just in the hospital specifically, that was the pay rate that I was seeing. So next we'll get into what I was talking about, seasonal. A lot of nurses in our hospital, we have core staff, but we also have seasonal. So down here in Florida, y'all know this is like a vacation state. In the area that I work in, which is a predominantly, like, it's a very rich neighborhood. Rich in a sense, like Judge Judy got a house down here, like $1 million house. So the people who come down here, the population that I see, usually these are the winter homes. They come down here from October and stay till April, and then they go home for the summer. But honestly, we haven't really been seeing a decrease for the last 2-3 years in patient population. It doesn't seem like they're going home. They're just actually staying here. But we still do have seasonal workers, and they get paid around, I want to say $53 an hour. They get paid really good. Of course, with seasonal, or I don't even know if that's how it is everywhere, they don't get benefits, and then if they get called off, you just get called off. You don't get paid for that. So next, I'll talk about float, because somebody did ask me that, do you guys get floated? And if you do get floated, do you get float pay? And so in my experience, I've gotten floated before, and I don't really mind it. We have 2 locations at the hospital that I work at. So how it works for us, if you get floated at your home hospital, you don't get extra pay. You just get floated. But if you get floated down to the sister hospital, which is not your home hospital, you will get paid extra money. And I believe it's only like $60, but they do pay you. The policy, I don't even think there is a policy on floating, but I do know that the charge nurses, what they'll do is they'll write in the date that you got floated, and they're supposed to rotate it. And from my experience, it just depends on the floor you work in and who you know. Some people may get floated more often, and some people may not get floated at all because of who they know. But I have got floated before, and I honestly don't mind, just because I'm just trying to learn everything. I don't want to just get too comfortable working on my floor. But I have got floated before, and if I floated to a place that wasn't my home hospital, I do get paid for it, just in case anybody wanted to know. Another thing that I know people might want to know is, what is our patient ratio? So y'all might, when I say this, I know y'all gonna be like, wow. Our patient ratio, and remember I work on a cardiac floor. It's more like med surg now, since because of Corona, we just kind of getting everybody. But our ratio is 1 to 6. It is very few nights that we have 5, and 4 is like, it's not gonna last long. If we come in with 4 patients, we about to get slammed with so many admits. But our ratio is 1 nurse to 6 patients, and if you ask me, that is a lot. But I think because I've been doing it, I've just become accustomed to it. And I know some people gonna be like, oh no, they tripping, which I think they are. And not to mention, do nurses get 6 patients? Like, it's gotten to the point where charge nurses are getting 2 and 3 patients, which I think is ridiculous. And this is only at my hospital. I don't know about other hospitals, but the hospital that I work at, that is our patient ratio, 1 to 6. I think in the ICU it may be 1 to 3 or 1 to 4, but don't quote me because I don't work there. I just remember getting a little infill on that department, and I think it may be 1 to 3. I'm hoping it's just 1 to 3. But you learn how to manage. At least I have learned how to manage, to just do the best that I can. You learn how to prioritize care. You just learn a lot when you have 6 patients, but at the same time, I don't feel like you can adequately give your patients the proper care with 1 to 6. Like, everybody is getting the bare minimum to keep you alive. If I do a little extra, praise God, but 6 patients is really a lot for 1 nurse. But that is our patient ratio. So next we're gonna go get into census. Somebody had asked me a question about if you guys have a low census and they send you home, do you still get paid? And the question is yes. And you have the option though. When I say you get paid, they're pulling out of your PTO. So it's not like we're still giving you these free hours. We're giving you free hours. Like, it's coming from somewhere, and it's from your PTO. And so you have an option to take whatever hours that you would have missed since you went home and use those, so that your check can still be the same, or you could just tell them don't pull from it. But ultimately, if we have a low census and they send you home early, or they call you off, we call it COH, you do still get paid. If you're seasonal, you don't. Patient population, I don't know if this really matters to a lot of people, and this will definitely depend on the area that you work in, but the population that I deal with, 99% of them are 65 years old and older. It is a very old population down there. And with that, I honestly feel like I work in a nursing home, even though I work in a hospital, because you're dealing with patients who have dementia, who has Alzheimer's, like patients who are complete assist, who just, require a lot of attention, like just basic attentions for like ADLs, like where you can't fully focus on, their total care, because you gotta make sure safety is okay. Like, that is the number one thing in our hospital, is like falls. Make sure they don't fall. And y'all know that old people, they fall. And so that's really one thing I don't like about the area that I work in. There is a hospital in the city that I stay in that I could probably go to, and because I'm comfortable with stuff, I don't want to go there. But I'm pretty sure the population is different versus the population in Tampa. So just to kind of give y'all an idea, I do deal with like a lot of older people. It's very, very rare that I have a patient who is like under 30. And if I do, usually they are like ETOH or polysubstance abuse. I do have a few people who are there just for like normal stuff, but it's rare that I get a young patient. Very, 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 very rare. So next, I'll talk about is our health insurance. I did ask around for this to kind of get an idea of what people are getting paid, and you can get charged for health insurance. And when I say health insurance, I mean, for me, this is including dental, vision, and medical. And for me, they take out $75 per paycheck for all three of those. Some people, it was cheaper. Like one of my friends, they take out like $50, and then somebody else was like $80. And then it also depends on if you have children and a spouse and things like that. But just for me, single, nobody I'm claiming, they take out $75 for insurance, and my insurance is okay. I used to work for the county, and they were taking $60 per pay period, and my insurance there was A1. I didn't have to pay no co-pays, no nothing. Like, it was gravy. This insurance is kind of like, and also they want you to use their doctors. Of course, they don't have dental and they don't have vision, but they specifically want you to stay in a network of that hospital, which I don't really like, but I don't really have too much of an option. So just to give y'all an idea about that. So I figured I'd include this in here about unions. From my understanding, unions kind of like fight for your rights, and they just are there to support you. We don't, in my hospital, we don't have a union. I don't even think there are unions in Florida. Don't quote me, but I've never heard any of my friends or colleagues talk about dealing with unions. I don't have one in my hospital. But I did see that like they do certain things like tuition reimbursement, which my hospital does do, but they just require you to stay like an additional year. But if you don't stay that year, you can still leave. You just have to pay them the money back. It's kind of just like a loan with no interest, which is not a big deal to me, at least. We still get a pay increase. We get what we call like a cost of living. If there's a cost of living increase, we usually get that. We don't get any bonuses. Well, actually, I take that back. We did get a bonus last year around Christmas time. I think maybe it was $100. I'm not sure. But we do get a pay increase. So, and it's not that much. I started off at like $25 some change, and now I'm at like $26 and some change. I don't even think it was a full dollar. It was like maybe 75 cents. So we do get raises. We do get tuition reimbursement. Somebody mentioned something about being fired. I've never experienced none of my colleagues getting fired or people just disappearing like that. In my hospital, like, it's a shortage of us, so they just kind of like, if you're here, you're here. As long as you don't kill nobody, you're good. So I've never heard of that, like people just kind of getting fired. But I think they were probably referring to the fact that I think Florida is like a right to work state, so they can kind of fire you without any justification, like any reason. But even if they do, just collect unemployment, especially if it wasn't like something you did wrong. So that answers that question. As far as shifts that we work 3/12s. No, that's not a full 40 hours. It's 36 hours, but we do have the ability to pick up shifts. They do offer incentives for picking up shifts, especially because we're short, especially if you want to work on the COVID floor as well. So you do have that opportunity. But a lot of nurses that are in my hospital, they have 2 jobs, like a good percentage of them. I'm not one of those people because I don't even like working. I like the money, but I don't like working. So I just try to make do with what I have. I do pick up shifts though. I work at least 4 days every single week, no less than that, because the $36 hour check, it's just not enough for me to live the lifestyle that I want to live. Like, you can certainly pay your bills and go out and do stuff, but I be trying to do extra stuff, and so I need a full 40-hour check and more. So that's just me. Next, we're going to quickly talk about the housing. As far as if you want to get a mortgage, I pay $1,100 for a month. My house was $160,000. If y'all paid attention, like, my house is not big. It's not like one of those YouTubers you see on YouTube. It's just a regular normal house. I want to say it's 1,200 square feet. I'm pretty sure it's 1,200. So if y'all know, 1,200 square feet is not a lot, but I have a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, and $1,100 for a whole entire house. I sit on a half of acre of land. I feel like that's pretty decent versus having to pay $1,100 for a 1-bedroom and you sharing with everybody. So it's just all about preference. I moved into a house specifically because I'm like, why would I be paying that much money when I could just invest in a home. That was it. So like I said, that's preference. And then you also have to take into account, I don't live in a gated community. I live in a regular working class neighborhood. A lot of my neighbors are either police officers, nurses. You got some retired people over here. It's very diverse over here. I have Hispanic neighbors, I have black neighbors, I have Haitian neighbors, Jamaican neighbors, I have white people. So it's very diverse in this area, but it is kind of country. I have neighbors around the corner and down the street who have horses, but I live on the edge of it, so it's closer to the city and it's not like deep in the country. But then you also have areas that are gated, which is not really something that I want because it's just too many rules and regulations. But from what I've seen, you talking about anywhere from the low 200s to and up. And up can go up to 5, 6, 7, 800, depending on what gated community you are in, depending on what the area is in. And usually the lower ones, from my experience, because when I was house hunting, I did kind of look. Those are the duplexes, like townhome type style. So it's not like a individual family home. And then it also said, like, it also depends on where you live at. The area that I work in, those houses, you talking about $1 million houses. So I'm not interested. And then as far as the population where I work at, it's like a lot of white people. And I have a problem with white people, but I'm from Detroit. I want to see people that look like me, and it's a lot of older people in the area that I live at. So it's not really my vibe. Very nice city, as far as like the aesthetic of it, because they keep it up. It's beautiful. But as far as like nightlife and just seeing people that look like me, it's not happening. So hopefully that helps you guys with that part of it. Y'all, so next we're going to talk about just the area that I live in again. I live in the Southwest Florida area, so that's Sarasota, St. Pete, Tampa. I'm like 2 hours away from Miami, like an hour and 40 minutes away from Tampa, Naples, Fort Myers, Lehigh. Those are the areas that are around me. So what I wanted to do is kind of show y'all the price range as far as apartments, and then I'll go ahead and talk about if you want to like own a house, or you know what, I should have looked up renting houses too, but I didn't. But y'all can go do that one. So I'm going to just show y'all, screenshot, record y'all what I found. So I just put in Fort Myers, Florida. That's one of the cities that's around me, and so y'all can kind of see the price, the high price and the low price. Edison Apartments, I think that's by the mall, which is, it's an okay area. For $1,300 for a 1-bedroom. No, I think they taxing. This place actually is really nice. This is a really nice place, and they are also building a lot around my area. I'm talking about houses and apartments, gated community. Like, they are really building. The Legacy Gateway Apartments, that's a really nice one, but as y'all see, for 1-bedroom, $1,400, I think that's a lot of money to me. The Edge Apartments, I think this is a ghetto place. I think, don't quote me, but the name sounds familiar. Let me see what else that I did. Decorum, they are really nice. I'm surprised they only $1,100. That's a really nice place. It's brand new. Let me see. Colonial Commons. This is where I used to live at before I moved into my house. These were really nice. But we were living in a 3-bedroom, and I had roommates, so we were splitting that. I think we were paying like $1,500. So those are nice. Just to kind of give y'all an idea, Cypress Legends, this is probably my favorite apartment that I've ever lived in. And they're not like extra fancy or anything, but I just like the whole vibe of the place, and it's gated. It was really nice. Most places do not include lights, like you have to pay your own light bill, and I believe trash, and I don't think you have to pay water. I think you do. Don't quote me. You may or may not have to pay water. But usually in an apartment, paying for water is not that much. It's really a light bill because you tend to have your air conditioner on at all times, and you don't want to not have it on, because then just the humidity will start to build mold and mildew, and you don't want to go through that, because trust me, I had went through that. So just to kind of give y'all an idea of the price range, So as you can see, like the lowest that I've been seeing is, this is a new place that they built into the Reef, and y'all see they start at 1,600. The thing about here, they starting to think that they in Miami or something like that. Like 1,600, and I know where this is located, is not, nah, they taxing. $1,600 is too much. They doing too much. But as you can see, the lowest that we see is like around $1,000. I don't know where the Lenox apartments are. These look decent though. And just to kind of get an idea, like I like my stuff to be nice. I need it to be updated. I need it to have all the amenities and everything. I need it to be nice. So I just wanted to kind of give y'all an idea of how much the Laurels. That sounds familiar too. I don't think these are nice though. These are about a mall. They're okay. But just to kind of give y'all an idea of how much they charge for apartments. So next we gonna talk about the weather. Florida weather is it's better to me. I'm from Michigan. It is far better than living in Michigan. I do not like cold. I do not do cold. I don't know how I lived in Michigan for almost 20 something years, and that snow, I hate it. I don't want no parts of it. However, in Florida, it is only like beautiful to me, like bearable in the wintertime when it's not as humid. In the summertime, it feels miserable. Like unless you are on the beach every day, it's miserable. Like the humidity down here is on a whole other level. In the wintertime for us, I think we had maybe a week's worth of like wintertime weather, and when I say that, I mean like around 60 and 50 degrees. Like we only had a few days and that was it. The rest of the year is just hot, especially in the summer. I would say from like November to March, weather is beautiful. You can open your windows, let the breeze come in. It's not humid. It's wonderful. The rest of the year, trash. And then hurricane season. Down here, it rains a lot. And it's crazy type of rain. Like it can be raining in my yard, and then the yard next door over, it's not raining at all. And then sometimes when it rains, it's like hurricane rain. That's another thing. We do have hurricane season, and if you've never been in a hurricane, it can be quite scary. I told myself I'd rather be in a blizzard than a hurricane because your girl cannot swim, and I don't got time for that. And the job that I was working at before at the county, like I had to come to work, so I was driving in that because I didn't want to stay at the shelter. And y'all, that was scary. It was scary. Like I don't remember which hurricane it was. It was like maybe 3 years ago. The one that had hit us bad. Like the last one that hit Florida bad. It was scary. It was scary. Thankfully, in my apartment, I lived in Colonial Commons, the power did not go out at all. But I know people who was living down the street who didn't have power for like a week. So my experience as far as like comfort, I was good. I was watching TV, I had air conditioner, I could eat my food. But some people didn't have that luxury. So that part can be scary. And then there's a lot of people who kind of ignore it. They like, I've been here all my life, we gonna make it through it. And then there's some people like me who be like, shoot, should I go? But I can't because I'm essential personnel. So if you don't mind the hurricanes, you should be fine. But for me, it was a little bit unnerving because I had never been through it before. But as you see, I made it through and we were all right. So we could talk quickly about car insurance. So I pay $160 a month for my car insurance. And just to kind of give y'all an idea, I don't have a fancy car. I drive a Honda Civic 2018. So just so y'all can kind of get an idea that it's full coverage. So depending on your driving record, your driving history, and what type of car you have, that will depend on what your insurance is like. But just to kind of give y'all an idea of what I pay, I just pay $160 a month for car insurance. I know my mom in Michigan, she be like, $160, like that's nothing. I think she pay like almost $300 a month for her insurance. And I don't know if that's just because Detroit is crazy or what, but $300 is ridiculous for car insurance. Like how? Like what? But so I'm definitely grateful for my $160. And speaking of cars, Florida has the absolute worst drivers. Like worse than New York. I don't even think New York is bad. Y'all just know how to maneuver. I like that. I like that type of driving. Do what you gotta do, just don't crash. But Florida, I don't know if it's because it's a lot of older people that come down here, but they driving is on a whole other level. Like, I be getting so frustrated. I don't think I ever had road rage until I moved to Florida, because these people, their license need to be revoked. They do not need to be on the road. It be so many accidents. And don't talk about motorcycles. Like, if you have a bike, like if it's any guys that's watching this, like, I feel like Florida is the worst state to ride a motorcycle. Because one, I don't think you have to have a helmet. But there are so many people that get hit on bikes. Like, I think it's just a dangerous state to drive in. Like, you not only have to watch yourself, you have to watch the other driver. Like, people just really don't know how to drive down here. I don't know what it is, but all the drivers, the worst drivers, they move to the state of Florida, and it is ridiculous. So the last thing I'm going to end it on is like social life, because I think that's really important when you come to a place. And I say that now because I'm here. This place that I live in, it's dead. It be nothing be going on. If I want to do something, I gotta go to Miami, I gotta go to Tampa. It's just the stuff that I want to do, I don't be want to do around here. And the people that I want to hang around are not the people down here. Like, I like a mixture of people. I like a good vibe, I like good music, and I haven't really found that in the area that I live in. But if you move to Tampa, obviously Miami, Orlando, even if you go to like St. Pete, Sarasota, like those places, you can catch a good vibe. You can find people to just kick it with. I mean, obviously now because of coronavirus, it's not much to do, but when this all gets done and over with, I do think those are nice areas, especially even in Jacksonville. Jacksonville is really nice, even though it's kind of like a school area, but the weather is better because it's closer up north. It's a lot more to do. So Florida, I enjoy it. I do enjoy it, especially the beaches. The beaches and the seafood are the best part of Florida. If I can go to the beach every single day, I would. I love the beach. Like, I absolutely positively love it. So if you are like a beach person and just like a nice vibe, I would definitely say Florida is a good place to move. Like I said, in my area, it is a lot of older people, but if you go to Tampa, Miami, and stuff like that, it's a variety. It's like a melting pot there as far as race and as far as age. So it don't matter what age you are. If you 18 or if you 40 and you want to move down here, I feel like going to those places, you'll be able to find a nice crowd to mingle with. Or if you just want to go out and do something, let loose, just have a good time, cute little dates, or go hang out with the girls, brunch and all that stuff, those are good areas in Florida. So I think that's pretty much it for the video. If I forgot anything, let me know, y'all. Talk to me down in the comments. Let me know if this video was helpful. Let me know if I forget anything, and thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, I will see you guys later. So I think that's pretty much it for the nursing part of it. If I forgot anything, just let me know. I'm really good about answering your questions in the comments. I don't think I forgot anything, but if I do, just let me know and I'll answer it down there. So let's go ahead and get into the lifestyle portion of living in Florida.